What's up, Wildflowers? Sunday, August 3rd. We have our card pull for today. We got Crow. So I was thinking a lot about this card before I started this video, and I think it really fits in with yesterday's card reading. I talked a lot about staying in the present, not dwelling in the past, looking forward into the future, but also staying very mindful in the present that what you're building is for the future and not from the past, right? Well, Crow, which is the card we got today, represents living in all three simultaneously. So it's a little bit different from, you'll hear people say sometimes, let the past go, live in the present, don't worry about the future, it hasn't happened yet, right? Like, especially like for like people with anxiety and things like that, they tell them like, don't worry about the future, which to a point, like it's close, right? Like, you don't want to stress about things that haven't happened yet, but you also want to prepare. Yesterday I was talking about this at Dandelion Land when we were doing our brunch and crimes. We were talking about kind of the difference between pessimism and being prepared. And I always use the example because my husband and I are very opposites in this, and so sometimes it makes us butt heads. I'd like to say more often than that, it balances us, right? Because I like to be all sunshine and rainbows. I want to feel like everything is going to work out and it's going to be perfect and we're manifesting and everything's great. And he sometimes walks around with kind of a storm cloud around his head, and he's like, yeah, but what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? and I'm like, yeah, but what if it doesn't, right? So we kind of bounce off each other and ideally come to a middle place, because he calls me the Tigger to his Eeyore, because he's leans more towards that doom and gloom, and I'm more bouncy, fun. The problem lies with that, with my end of it, when things go wrong, right? Because when things go wrong, I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't manifest this. And sometimes I'm not as good as he is, because he's already done it 25 times in his head. But the problem with his side of things is that he makes himself miserable before anything goes wrong. So, he'll plan a whole family trip for us, and then he'll be grumpy the whole time because he's tired and exhausted from worrying about what's going to go wrong, and sometimes nothing goes wrong, and it could have been a really great trip for him. So the middle ground of that is that being prepared. That, like, okay, ideally everything is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic. This is the plan. This is what I'm manifesting. These are my action steps. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make it happen, right? But also, this roadblock might come up. If this roadblock comes up, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to worry about that, but this is the plan. And then this roadblock, that one also might pop up. If that one pops up, this is the plan. I'm not going to worry about that. That hasn't happened yet. I'm not going to stress about something that hasn't happened yet. I've got enough to stress about that's actually happening now. This is the plan. We'll deal with that if it happens. And you knock those roadblocks out, but you don't live in that in that chaos or that disappointment, because that hasn't happened. What's happening is the present. And so then you start working your plan. And so in a very long-winded way, long story longer, there's a middle ground, right? And that's where Crow lives. Crow wants you to live in that middle ground. Crow wants you to look at your past and take the lessons from it while remaining in the present. Crow wants you to look back, take those lessons into the present and apply them. Crow wants you to look at memories and be happy in the present that they happened. They happened, they were great in the present. They happened, they weren't great, we're reflecting on them, but I'm still in the present. I don't live there anymore. That's not me anymore. That's not happening to me anymore. That's a lot of PTSD, is reliving that trauma and reminding yourself that that's not happening to me anymore. I'm not there anymore. And so that's what Crow wants. He wants you to take what the past had, take the gifts, whether they were gifts of blessings or whether they were gifts of lessons, and take those and live with them in the present. And he wants you to plan for the future, but in the present. Looking at the future, that's the future. That's what I'm going to do. But right now I'm in the present. That's what might happen, but right now I'm in the present. And kind of walk that line. So I think that really goes with what we've been talking about, especially yesterday's lesson, or I guess it could have been a lesson. It wasn't as long-winded as this one. Yesterday's card pull. And if you want more, I'm going to pull a couple more cards for my Ko-fi page. So if you're still with me, head over to ko-fi.com/dandelionland. And if you become a supporter, you'll unlock the 3-card reading, and we'll dive a little bit even deeper into this. I also think I'm going to do a meditation for Crow. I'm really inspired to do a meditation where we can kind of travel into our past and check that out while remaining grounded and anchored in the present, and then do a little visualization for the future, again remaining in the present. So if that's something you want to explore, I'm going to get that written and recorded this week. It won't be today. Sundays are my days off, and this Sunday is way busier than I like, but I will work on that and get that put up onto the Ko-fi page. And I think probably the Purple Star supporters will be able to unlock that. So if that's something you want to explore, head over there and check it out. Or you can always message me for a private reading.